Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Patreon-sponsored review time again, and we've got something fun this time. The crossover everyone always wanted, GoBots and Filmation's Ghostbusters. You know what this is already, you clicked on the video. Made by IDW to commemorate the 35th anniversary of both franchises, editor Tom Waltz described it as the crossover that was always meant to be. Yes, the children's franchise meant to sell toys, and the somewhat more adult comedy franchise about dead people, originally inspired by Dan Aykroyd's fascination with the paranormal. Always meant to cross over. To be fair, mashups and crossovers are fun to imagine even if the franchises have nothing to do with each other. Sometimes it's logical that they might cross over, as we saw with Doctor Who and Star Trek, and sometimes it's whatever the hell this is. That's all I've really got, and we have 5 issues to go through. Let's dig into Transformers/Ghostbusters, Ghosts of Cybertron.
Atop the fourth wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. What's with these awkward subjects? What's all this art so rubbish? To anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he is a man, punch, sporadically a grouch. Linkara, he has his own spaceship, but he's always on his couch. Linkara, a universe in flux. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
Reading from a trade, so no looking at the covers. What we will look at is this, Ectotron, an awesome toy tie-in to the comic, since the character is featured in it. A Transformer that turns into Ecto-1, and I think it's pretty damn spiffy. Still waiting on that USS Enterprise that's also a Transformer, Hasbro. We open with a quick recap of the Transformers premise. The planet Cybertron has been in the grips of civil war for as long as its population can remember. Which isn't actually that long, since they all recently cleared their cache. 2 factions, the Autobots and the Decepticons, used every means at their disposal to gain an edge. Decepticons! I have rigged the talent show so that we emerge triumphant! The Autobots decided screw this and left the planet. The Decepticons planning on going after them, but here's where the regular timeline of events decides to take a twist. Cybertron, the Traveler has come. Mecha Gozer! So, given the mythology of the first movie, does that mean Zool and Vince Clortho possessed 2 Transformers who bumped exhaust ports to Summoner? So yeah, right off the bat, 3rd page into this, we are already confronted with a fascinating idea. What happens when a supernatural, other-dimensional god faces off against giant killer robots, and in this case, friggin' Gozer versus the Decepticons? The Traveler, explain yourself or face my wrath! Megatron is a type who will immediately say yes if asked if he's a god. Starscream also acts the type, attempting to shoot at Gozer, but she easily deflects the blasts back at them. Invasive entity is more powerful than previously considered. Suggested strategy, distress beacon.
No shock.
You know, it's funny. A while ago I saw a comment on Twitter that hated me for having the Soundwave toys behind me because I was trying to convince people I was a Transformers fan by having just that one. And it's like, I've made it no secret that I'm a filthy casual and that I just love Soundwave, and I hold no illusions that I'm anything more than that. I mean, aside from the 3 hours I spent talking about the old Marvel series, but there you go. I'm a fake fan because I really like Soundwave. Also, in the same Twitter thread, someone who didn't know who I was said that adults who owned children's toys were a sign that they were probably pedophiles. So yeah, I've got bad news for all YouTubers who talk about geek stuff. Anyway, Starscream says they should run away like the Autobots did, but Megatron's not having any of that, deciding to go up to Gozer and sort this whole thing out. He swats aside one of the dogs, and Gozer explains that she's come to this world to end it, and that, of course, they must choose the form of their destruction. The form is chosen, to Megatron's confusion. Naturally, it's Starscream's fault.
It was just a fleeting thought! I wondered what could possibly be mighty enough to destroy Cybertron!
This is Unicorn. The Earth will soon be a part of me.
Ironically, in the Headmasters cartoon, Cybertron did get destroyed. But no, as one would expect, Cybertron's doom comes because of Starscream. A giant version wearing the standard crown and cape, but with the added bonus of the Matrix and the heads of several Transformers. And screw the underbase creating cosmically powered Starscream, we've got Gozerly powered Starscream. Megatron shoots Starscream for this idiocy, but doesn't kill him, probably realizing they need all hands on deck for this.
Rally all Decepticons to this point! Cybertron must be preserved!
I'm not even kidding. This is an actual page of the comic. I love it. We cut to 1,000 years later, where the Autobots, in particular Ectotron as we'll come to know him, have detected something. I'm calling him Ectotron for simplicity's sake, but his full name is Ectronimus Diametron, a name and title that he takes particular pride in and doesn't enjoy the others shortening because it's a bit of a tongue twister. I mean, in a metaphorical sense. Do Transformers even have tongues that— Oh God, no! Ectotron reports that they've detected a Cybertronian signal coming from a nearby planet, which, of course, is Earth. In this timeline, they haven't encountered humanity before. Optimus decides to send Ectotron down alone to investigate, just in case this is a trap or just something not really worth their time like an old probe. And of course, down on Earth, we meet up with the Ghostbusters, and Ecto-1 has fallen into a massive sinkhole in the road. We lose more cars this way. Man, I know potholes are a problem in any major city, but you've lost more than one car thanks to ones this big? It's not a loss. We can have it hoisted. Make improvements. Like what, Egon? The ability to fly? Or are we saving that for the Ghostbusters and Back to the Future crossover? Apparently the hole in the road is a result of a nearby ghost, and they decide to head off and deal with it. Unseen by them, an Autobot probe hovers in the sky and scans Ecto-1 to give an alt mode for Ectotron. I should note that as part of the anniversary idea, the comic is loaded with subtle and not-so-subtle nods to both franchises. As such, it should come as no surprise that the ghosts that our heroes are here to bust resembles a Quintesson guard. The team banters about baseball and sports for a moment before Egon reminds them, hey, maybe we should capture the ghost already? As such, the thing is soon trapped. They head back to the car to make sure nothing in it explodes. Seems like the kind of thing you should be worrying about before you place a powerful ghost and trap back inside of it. But back with Ectotron, we see that some cops have found it stopped outside the forest. One of the cops wants to give it a ticket, but Ectotron zaps the ticket. On second thought, they saved the world. I think I can let this slide. The funnier thing here is that Ectotron knows what a parking ticket is. What have the Autobots been up to these last 1,000 years? The Ghostbusters are confused how their car is out of the sinkhole, until they see that it isn't, so they're even more confused. Egon tries scanning with the PKE meter and detects something weird, until Winston reveals that what he's detecting is Starscream's ghost. Yeah, on the slim chance you weren't aware of this, in Season 3 of G1 Transformers, Starscream was restored to life after his death in the movie, but that was from being a ghost for a couple episodes. I mean, screw people arguing about Transformer genders or beards or whatever. Robots have souls that live on after death. Beast Wars would actually retcon this into being Starscream's spark that was somehow indestructible, but still. Anyway, Starscream says he's here to talk to Ectotron, and they bust him and shove him in a trap. Somewhere, Megatron is watching these events unfold and declaring that busting makes him feel good. 2 ghosts on a 1-ghost call. Peter, that is not the correct line, and I will not stand for this Ghostbusters 2 erasure.
2 in the box. Ready to go. We be fast and they be slow.
They're still confused by what Starscream was, or who it was talking about, so Ectotron reveals himself, ending issue 1. And man, if I have only one complaint about Ectotron, it's that his shoulders are frickin' huge. Screw having a gun or anything, he can just shoulder check his enemies to death. Ectotron quickly explains who he is and what he's doing here. I understand that I have an intimidating appearance, but I was actually expecting you to be just a bit more intimidated. Yeah, we get that a lot. I mean, when the writers keep making you fight the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man like 3 dozen times, you stop being scared by these things. Egon has a difficult time believing that Ectotron's an alien, but he does know he's not a ghost. Still, there's an issue in that Ectotron wants them to release Starscream from the trap. Ray calmly explains why they can't, but because Ectotron can't risk failing a mission since he so rarely gets to go on them, he disables the trap and frees him. Starscream takes this whole thing well.
You little worms! You would dare try to incapacitate me? I am Starscream, greatest of the Decepticons, and you will taste my wrath!
Ectotron, beginning to see why you're not sent on missions very often. We always tell them it's a bad idea to turn off the power to a thing, and they never believe us. Nope. Good news is, if it happens one more time, we get a free hat from the insurance agency. What does the containment grid fall under in terms of insurance claims? Just general business property, or like something related to natural disasters, since it involves the dead and acts of God and all that? Ectotron realizes the mistake, thinking it was just a hologram, but the signal they received is Starscream. The Ghostbusters use their proton packs to restrain him, and, seeing the Autobot symbol, Starscream surrenders and wants a truce. Peter doesn't buy it and decides to try his own luck talking with him. Okay, hey, you, Mr. Starscream? Pete Venkman. Hi. So, what's up with this truce?
Release me, Pete Venkman! I implore you!
Yeah, you're gonna have to convince me.
Join me, Pete Venkman! Once Egon falls, you can be the new leader, and I, your trusted lieutenant!
I kind of already consider myself the leader, so...
Fine! I apologize for my behavior, oh mighty Pete Venkman!
This is a story where Starscream called Peter Venkman mighty. God, I love comic books. Ray, I've heard of Starscream. He can't be trusted as far as he can throw himself. I mean, he's a jet, so... Starscream explains what happened on Cybertron. Gozer was trampling the planet and destroyed a bunch of Decepticons, including even the Combiner teams, when all of a sudden a being in a red cloak appeared and offered Megatron and the Decepticons a way to survive Gozer's onslaught. And as you may notice, if you're familiar with Generation 1, there's a familiar-looking creature on his shoulder. Yes, both the tiny creature and the bigger cloaked figure is Kremzeek, the annoying electrical creature from Transformers, though he's considerably less irritating here, and known as Kremzeek the Scavenger, just as Gozer is the Traveler, plus wearing red robes in reference to another G1 episode. Kremzeek turns Megatron, Shockwave, Soundwave, and Starscream into ghosts under his sway. Starscream claims that he was able to escape Kremzeek's control and found his way to Earth, able to possess mechanical objects, but he lacks a body. He sent the transmission to the Autobots because they have the Allspark, a device that can create new Transformer life. The Ghostbusters are suspicious, but they're soon interrupted by the arrival of the tiny Kremzeek creature, which Starscream tells them they have to kill. Peter throws a ghost trap at it, but Kremzeek is able to blast it and escape. It's your own fault, Peter. Thing is a low catch rate. You've got to at least weaken it and paralyze it first. Maybe use an ultra ghost trap. Using the proton guns and a touch from Ectotron, acting as some kind of ground, they're able to dispel the Kremzeek creature. They'll need to contact Optimus Prime to get approval to give Starscream a new body, but Ectotron's communicator is fried. They need to repair it. The Ghostbusters agree to help in exchange for a ride home, since Ecto-1 is still out of action. And I just know Optimus Prime will find this all very interesting. In fact, I bet he'll want to come and look into things for himself.
Fools!
What was that, Starscream?
I said, fuselage! Yes, I can't wait to have a fuselage again, because I'm a plane, and that's an aircraft's body, so I can take humans to an island nation for vacations! Yes, nothing suspicious or weird about that!
That brings us to issue 3, where Ectotron meets Janine. I know this may come as something of a shock, but... Shock nothing. I just don't want to see you putting any holes in the sheetrock. The contractors rip us a new one every time we need repairs. Janine is every jaded office worker. Look, I don't care how impressive or amazing it is. Just give me my paycheck and don't make me work on the weekends. Given the complexity of his name, it's here where Janine suggests the name Ectotron. Is this how your people are? Open-minded and unfazed by those who are different? Oh, Ectotron, you sweet, innocent giant robot. Never visit a YouTube comment section or Twitter.
Oh yes, they're all just so special here. Small and soft and stuck in one shape. Bah!
Sorry, Starscream, we can't all transform into a douche like you. Okay, the Vigo painting there kinda confuses me. I know that was also a thing in Ghostbusters the game, but the end of the movie changed the painting. Although I'm even more weirded out because it resembles the actual Vigo painting, which is done in the style of realistic people. But the Ghostbusters in this use the more stylized, cartoony variant that one iteration of the IDW series used, so what the hell? Starscream floats up into their lab and shrinks down to see if there's any technology he can use, spotting Slimer inside of some kind of containment aquarium.
Ugh! You look like a bag of human excrement!
Spend a lot of time on Earth studying human poop, Starscream? He tries to shoot Slimer, but the blasts can't penetrate the walls. Yeah, ghost stuff can't get through that glass. You know you're not firing lasers anymore, right?
Pete Venkman! I wasn't doing anything, I swear!
I love this dynamic where Starscream is more scared of Pete Venkman than even Megatron. Venkman is curious what Starscream is really after, but he denies anything more than just a new body. Peter doesn't buy it, citing the lesser talked about aspect that Peter is intelligent. It's just instead of the physics side of the team, he's a psychology major, and thus is able to read people.
If I'm as treacherous as you say, do you think it wise to confront me alone and without your energy weapons?
Oh yeah, you're not a giant killer robot anymore. You're just a ghost. I mean, whoever heard of ghosts causing damage to things? Am I right, Slimer? And thus Peter unveils a large ghost trap in the wall, which he uses to hold Starscream for a while. He goes downstairs where the others are working on Ectotron's communicator, and they ask why he put Starscream in a trap. Because I think I'm the first psychologist who can claim to specialize in analyzing alien robot ghosts. Guys, I've got a great idea for a subsidiary company to help expand the brand. But yeah, he just seems too sneaky, so best to keep him contained for the time being. With the repairs complete, Ectotron contacts the Ark. Is that you, Ectronimus? You can call me Ectotron, Optimus. I've been convinced that it's easier. Oh, thank Primus. Swear to God, if you had made me keep calling you that, I was going to plug myself into a computer game to die again. Ectotron fills him in on what's been going on, and he decides to come down to take a look. The Ghostbusters get a call for a job, and they need Ectotron to act as their vehicle, much to his chagrin since he doesn't want to make Optimus wait. Back on the Ark, Wheeljack thinks this is a bad idea, not believing Ectotron's story about Decepticon ghosts.
Me Grimlock ain't afraid of no ghosts. Who you gonna call? Call me Grimlock.
I understand your concerns, old friend, but I'm going. Part of being a leader is supporting those you lead, and also being grateful that their name isn't ridiculously long and saying so under your breath. You'll remember that I supported some of your ideas when others said they were crazy. Admittedly, the Autobot made entirely out of Twizzlers didn't really work out, but he was delicious.
Grimlock still think Wheeljack crazy. Autobot made out of ground beef make much more sense.
The Ghostbusters arrive at a warehouse, and Egon gets a similar reading as when they encountered Kremzeek. To play it safe, they decide to modify a trap to deal with the electrostatic discharge it gives off. Ectotron returns to robot mode. Let me ask you something. Is it weird we were just riding around inside you a minute ago? Let's just agree to never speak of it. Fair. I'm just saying, the radio dials are basically my nipples. Egon and Ray start working with Ectotron to modify the trap while Winston and Pete decide to head in. Is there something wrong with waiting until they were done modifying the trap before we flushed the ghost out? You know they work faster with a deadline. Now we get to die faster too. Efficient. Meanwhile, Optimus heads down and gets the truck form, landing in a more discreet area an hour away. Once he reaches the firehouse, he notes that Ectotron isn't there, but Optimus is nothing if not patient. And after flying 1,000 years around space aimlessly, you'd have to be. So he drives into an alley nearby to wait. Unfortunately, a couple of punks, who have a very noticeably different art style from the other characters, spot Optimus and decide to do some graffitiing. Ah, great, they're gonna write False God across him just like the guy from last week. Though I will say, given how awesome their styles are, this is definitely on the fun side of the graffiti fun or dumb debate. Back at the warehouse, Winston and Peter have been looking around for an hour and a half without luck. Remembering that the thing is connected to electricity, Peter hits the main power and gets blasted back. Son of a gun. You really do know how to push everyone's buttons. It's a talent. It's a good thing this unlicensed nuclear accelerator on my back acts as a great cushion. The electrical ghost emerges and forces our heroes out because 2 proton streams aren't enough. However, 4 still aren't enough since it seems to be drawing power from the city's electrical grid. As such, Ectotron knocks out some power lines, allowing them to use the modified trap to contain it. Back at the firehouse, they meet up with Prime, who got tagged. And I guess the punks were Ghostbusters fans since they sprayed the logo over the Autobot symbol.
Apparently, some of your kind saw fit to decorate me while I was waiting. What does it mean, for a good time, call Ivo Shandor?
After introductions are made and Optimus has explained the phrase, when in Rome, as Peter had joked, they get Starscream's ghost trap to finally have the two talk, but when they open the trap, he's gone, ending issue 3. The team relocates to a warehouse they have in Red Hook to give the Autobots some shoulder room as they check their readings. They're not sure exactly how Starscream escaped, but they see scorch marks indicating a power surge plus traces of a second PKE reading. Optimus also decided to alter his base colors to better fit in around the area, matching Ecto-1's color scheme a bit more. Peter points out how it's a shame how the Transformers can't shrink.
Actually, some of us can modify our size. There was a powerful Decepticon who could transform into a handheld weapon. I accidentally stepped on him once and set off 1,000 years of war.
Is that really?
No, not really. It was 10,000 years of war.
I'm sure the 1,000 Years' War didn't start with Optimus stepping on Megatron, but I wonder how joking he was about stuff like size changing and whatnot, since I don't know if Megatron is still supposed to be a gun in this continuity. Anyway, they put together some Autobot-sized proton packs and make their way to where they detect Starscream's PKE signature. They find him at a power plant, where Peter wants to know how he got out of the trap. He wants to kill the Ghostbusters for their insolence, but of course they just hit him with the proton packs again. However, it seems Starscream was actually working with Kremzeek the whole time, who is summoned and breaks the streams. Starscream says he brought Prime here like he wanted, but Kremzeek is clear that he wanted the Allspark, which he can't detect here.
The other Autobots will bring it now that we have their beloved leader at our mercy! That was my plan all along! And was it part of your plan to direct these beings to kill one of my children? I didn't mean... I had to gain their trust!
And what a bang-up job you've done, Starscream! Kremzeek says he allowed him to exist autonomously because of how enthusiastically he pledged to serve, but it's clear he's just trying to undermine him, so Starscream gets absorbed into Kremzeek. Kremzeek wants the power of the Allspark, and even the Decepticons refuse to help him with that after getting turned into ghosts. Starscream was the only one willing to serve. Kremzeek says that with the Allspark, he'll become as powerful as Gozer. Well, here's the thing, Kremzeek. First, that's a ridiculous name. You're hanging out with people named Ectotron and Optimus Prime. Don't you start on ridiculous names, Pete. And since they already defeated Gozer, the Ghostbusters are confident they can handle this. Thus all 6 fire on him. However, he's able to break free of the streams and grabs Optimus. Breaking free of the streams weakened him, so he can't just disintegrate Prime like he did the Decepticons, but he starts drawing power from the plant to recharge and absorb Prime. The Ghostbusters and Ectotron quickly make plans. Shut down the power plant, multiple traps to hold him and disperse him, and they'll need the electrical creature they caught previously. You left it in my vehicle form, Ray, along with these empty traps, a canister of slime, and enough food crumbs to compose another meal. You 4 are disgusting. I'm not disgusting. I'm just focused. My molds, spores, and fungi are very cleanly organized, thank you. They're hoping the electrical ghost and Kremzeek will short each other out, and while they'll eventually reform, it'll take months to do so, and by that time they'll have a better plan in place.
Ray Stantz, just do what you're going to do.
He could hear me? He's fighting hand-to-hand with a being made of living electricity, Ray. Optimus Prime does impossible things. He's right, you know. How many other Transformers can say they've stored their brains on 5 1/4-inch floppy disks? Well, luckily, so do we. Time to divide by 0. The plan works and the 2 creatures short each other out. But issue 4 ends with the reveal that with Kremzeek destroyed, the Decepticons who had been changed into ghosts have been freed as well.
Optimus Prime, you still function. I'll have to remedy that. I'm thinking a new line of toys, Prime. Ghost Transformers with translucent plastic.
Optimus, being a generous sort, offers to give them new bodies since the war is over, but Megatron's not interested, just wanting to keep the fight going.
I don't want this, Megatron. You've always been a coward. I'm just tired of war, Megatron.
I mean, you haven't been fighting a war for 1,000 years, dude.
But what I am not, as an old friend once said, is afraid of a ghost. Now, of killing NPCs in a video game, I am terrified of that.
So yeah, issue 5 begins with Optimus and Megatron just fighting outright, even grasping hands like that. Man, the physics of ghosts are confusing. However, it seems Megatron's alone in this fight even after death thing, since Starscream, Shockwave, and Soundwave all state that the offer is perfectly reasonable. It is not in our best interests to hasten Autobot destruction at this time.
Listen to them, Megatron. We want to help you.
Your help is worthless! You weren't even there to— Oh, good God, Megatron! What's going on with your arm?
Was his alt mode in this version a crane? However, it seems that while the Decepticons are not interested in helping to fight the Autobots, they really have nothing against killing the Ghostbusters, especially since Starscream is pissed off at being trapped by them. Even after getting locked in a proton stream, Soundwave proves his awesomeness by releasing his mini cassettes to aid in the battle. Twitter randos can make fun of my love of Soundwave as much as they want, but time after time, media proves one simple truth.
Soundwave superior.
There are just too many lasers flying around, man. Makes me feel like I'm in one of them G.I. Joe cartoons. Okay, that just opens up a whole slew of new questions if G.I. Joe as a cartoon still exists in this Ghostbusters universe. As the fight continues, Starscream decides to fly off since he's no longer bound by Kremzeek, and Megatron ends up knocked into Ectotron, possessing his body. God, what is it with Megatron and merging with Autobots? The Ghostbusters quickly formulate a plan, thinking they can use the mood slime they had recovered to try to free Ectotron. They get Optimus to hold him down and pour it into his mouth, expelling Megatron, although for some reason changing him from his Generation 1 form to something more akin to his War for Cybertron form. He thinks he could possess Prime instead and goes to take him over, but fortunately Ectotron has recovered enough to grab him with a proton stream, and the others lock him in a trap. The Decepticons, save Starscream, are all locked in traps, and the Ghostbusters offer to put them in the containment unit. But Optimus wants to try to put them in new bodies. And then what? You're just gonna let him go free? Well, freedom is the right of all sentient beings, Venkman. Right, we literally take sentient beings and imprison them in traps. Optimus is hoping to rehabilitate them, even Megatron. It may be unlikely, but he'll always have hope. Ectotron is happy to help repair all the damage done to everything, but wants to keep exploring the universe now that he knows ghosts are a real thing. He is leaving the Autobots, though, if only for a time, hoping that maybe if ghosts are real, they can actually help recover Cybertronian souls and bring them back to life. And so our crossover ends with him flying off in a shuttle, and Starscream's Ghost Watches, hinting at a sequel that currently has not happened. This comic is great. I highly recommend it. Aside from it just being fun and funny, the story is relatively simple and straightforward, especially in regards to how the Transformer side, while following its own unique continuity, keeps the basics of how the premise works so that it's instantly recognizable even if this is technically a fresh start to their story. It's stuffed full of fun Easter eggs to both franchises, plus allows both sides of the franchise to really show off and be treated as equals. It might be a little disappointing for fans because the only major Autobot players here are Optimus Prime, and a guy invented strictly for the crossover, but ultimately the lower amount of characters means that it doesn't get bogged down with too many fighting for space. The Ghostbusters all get a chance to shine, and the Transformers with the most personality and interesting potential interactions get their chances for interactions. The artwork is nicely fluid and exciting and keeps up a good pace. Admittedly, the backgrounds can get a little sparse, especially in the final issue, but it's not too big a deal in the grand scheme of things. Overall, it's just a great crossover, and the two franchises interact surprisingly well despite their very different origins and premises. Next time, let's check out something more serious. Or at least something that wanted to be serious, but kept bringing in new spores of madness. The New Guardians.
That
We'll try to rehabilitate them. The Decepticons have had a long existence that we can learn from.
Yes, their long existence being absorbed by Kremzeek. Also, again, the Autobots have been flying around for 1,000 years!
Hello, my friends. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon or purchase a t-shirt via Teespring or Shark Robot. Thanks for watching!